Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Push. I hope you guys all took the moment for stillness with us to watch our short film, Push. And now that we've all seen it, experienced it, we wanted to come back, first of all, to hold space for all the families that have been impacted, like ours. We are thinking of your babies. Today's actually Say Their Name Day in Australia for one of the charities there, Red Nose. So I know a lot of people are posting your beautiful babies today, and we are honoring them with this moment for stillness. I have my candle lit for Owen and all our babies. And our actors are here again with us just to share the impact of the film personally and also what we hope it's going to do for change. So thank you both for being here again.
Yeah. Thanks for having us in.
I want another layout. Is this better? It's kind of strange.
Yeah, we can.
I don't like it. What was the original one? Okay, we're back to me. No, I need to fix this because I want them spotlighted, not me. I'll remove myself. Why don't I do that? Jay and Nathan. So obviously you've seen the film already, but what were your thoughts after you saw it?
Go ahead, Nathan. I'll let you take it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I just really was kind of just in awe, after just watching it. You just kind of just got to let it sit for a second. Yeah, I remember the first time we'd watched it, I sent it to my mom, and I watched, in my whole family, they watched it and they were just like, had the similar reaction. Like we kind of just like sitting there like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really got to soak it in.
Same. It took me a second watch, as I said before, to even let it really process. Because we get on there and our job is to show up and just be great storytellers and to make sure we're getting the message across that's intended. But we don't know what the cut is. So once we see it and how it's laid out, it's so powerful. It honestly took me about 2-3 watches for me to really process the journey I just went on. So with you, very, very in awe, very eye-opening. And I hope it reaches so many to get this message across. That's so important.
Yeah. I really, really want to see this film. We were talking about like reaching into conferences and reaching into hospitals and in communities all around the world, Yeah, because I think something like this, the message that it carries really needs to be expressed to so many people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's headed to conferences all around. I was just letting the actors know that they have no clue how much of an impact this is now having and continue to have. It'll be a part of the Push for Empowered Pregnancy Stillbirth Prevention training that Marnie Smith created this year, and it will have course credits. So we hope that all providers will take that course and they'll be able to view the film and then learn some of the information in there. So, I mean, really, truly thank you both for embodying this horrible moment, unfortunately. But, it does show in the film there's two alternating outcomes that can happen if there is a moment of stillness, if your baby is not moving as much or, maybe more frantically and you're feeling something different. And if you do call in and maybe your provider or the ER, which is who I called ER in the middle of the night, if they don't know and they're like, well, maybe you should drink some juice. You should just say, well, no, I'm just going to come in, unfortunately that bad advice is still out there. And we're working really hard to, go through all the myths that are online. We have an internet scrub right now we're working on with Kicks Count UK and other charities. Count the Kicks is also supporting, and we have Canadian stillbirth prevention organizations as well. And so we're going to do this big international scrub of the internet working together to get rid of a lot of that misinformation. Because you do Google sometimes when you're nervous, it's nighttime and you don't know who to call. So if you get the wrong advice from the internet and on a trusted source, that could lead to disaster as well. And so hopefully this will be a really powerful, not just a moment, it is a movement. So unfortunately we did call it Moment for Stillness, but that's because today we are pausing for a moment to just talk about the importance of fetal movement. Really, that's the number one thing. because that is how your baby can communicate with you. And, maybe you didn't get things flagged. Like 80% of stillbirth parents don't have any kind of risk factor prior to the loss. So my pregnancy was textbook perfect. Every appointment was perfect. I was getting the reassurance that Owen was perfect, and he was growing. This is the size of my son and his weight. So I carry him around so people can see almost a full-term baby, and full-term babies are dying as well. So we don't need that to continue to happen. And unfortunately, you're blindsided by a situation when you aren't ever warned that this can actually happen still. And, no one's really training you on how to properly kick count. So that's a big thing as well. And if you just notice throughout the day, it's just getting to know your baby. So every baby's different. Mine was super active. If I even try to count kicks, I'd be like, which is what I did at the time, like, why am I counting? He's always moving. He's very active, until he wasn't, unfortunately. And that's when I went in and tried to get help. And, your scene was my scene. I went in and it was a crash C-section. And unfortunately, my husband wasn't beside me because I didn't know it would be ending this way at the time. It was 31 weeks, but I eventually got him there, and I was already under and everything, but they didn't say anything. They were kind of like themselves, like, oh, everything's going to be fine, honey. I'm like, how do you know? You haven't even put the heart rate monitor on me. Like, what's going on here? So, unfortunately, they were a little bit too late, and they couldn't resuscitate Owen. And so he's not here. And, we have to keep fighting to save babies like him that could be saved. Because, they're in distress, but there are little signs like this. The movement change is a sign. We do want root causes addressed, though. We want more done to monitor the cord and the placenta throughout pregnancy, because those are lifelines for your baby. And those are the ones that eventually might lead to the stillbirth. There's a problem there. So my boy could pass away. Yeah. So we do have a call to action for the community now that you've watched it. And if you haven't, you can still watch it all day long. And if you feel like just skipping that step, especially if you've already lost a baby in this way and it's too hard, you don't even want to do it today, whatever, just go to this petition for us, bit.ly/join the push. And that is just asking for some really straightforward, consistent guidelines about fetal movement education. How should that be done? Because in our country, we don't have that right now. And that's where all this, misinformation and people confused and giving each other bad advice. I don't know. Have you guys ever heard myths about that too? Like, at the end, maybe your baby might not move so much because they're getting big and they're slowing down. Like, that's commonly said.
Yeah, I've heard that for sure.
Yeah. So
I learned more that day on set. There was a lot of information I just didn't know. Most time you see pregnancy, especially when they're broadcast, it's always about the good stuff, about the, painting a room, or about, we're just expecting.
Yeah.
We never talk about the hardships and all the things that go on behind the scenes. So super eye-opening.
That final stage is like everyone's just worried about how does the nursery look, and the baby's packing on pounds. Like, we're just waiting for the lungs to develop. Like, that's all I knew. I mean, I had a daughter before. I wasn't really worried. I was like, we're past the miscarriage stage. We're good. Everything's looking great. So unfortunately for me, it was just like a shocker, just the whole thing. But I'm glad that you guys have learned and you're spreading awareness with us. And thank you for doing that. I know you're using your channels constantly, pushing the film out. So I really think that if other people outside of our community get more involved, that then we're going to see the change. Because unfortunately, we already know, and we're preaching to our own choir here a lot of the times in the charity world. But this is for future families and for all of you. If you get pregnant in the future, now you have these tools that'll really help you. So I'm going to bring on stage one more member of Push that has been patiently waiting to share her heart about the film and what it means to her to see it. And hopefully we'll get more people to be more involved as well. But she's one of the people that behind the scenes works very hard for this. So I'm going to bring on my partner here, Camila. Hello.
Hey.
So why don't you introduce yourself and then tell us what you think about seeing the film now again, and what impact that's going to have. Oh, she's muted.
Oh, sorry guys. That's why I was like, I'm talking. Hi guys.
Like, am I talking over you? No. Hi.
No, I forgot I was muted. Hi, guys. I just wanted to jump on real quick because I'm at work, but I'm Camilla, Director of Community Engagement with Push. And just like you said earlier, this is my, I guess, probably my fifth or sixth time to watch the film. When we watched it, when it released, I didn't know what to feel. It was like just a big rush of emotions. I think definitely if you've lived something like this, it is very triggering, because I felt like that was my story as well. Calling and feeling like something was wrong, telling my husband, something's wrong, and everyone around me just telling me, oh, it's okay, it's okay, when I knew that something wasn't okay. And so it was very triggering, but at the same time, it was very moving. I think it really put into perspective. It was very eye opening. Like, wow, like we're doing a lot, and there's other people out there who have never lived something like this, that are taking the time and energy and to do something like this. And that was very touching to see, because this work is really hard work sometimes, very triggering work a lot of times, and to just see people like you guys who have never been personally affected just care enough to do something like this. It's just so touching, and it means so much to you guys to to see that people do really care, and that want something to be done. So yeah, it was really touching. It's been great to see how people share the film. And people have been watching it. I have had a few clients and people, interested, and they watch it and they tell me like, wow, like I had no idea. And so overall, it's just very inspiring, and it makes me feel really hopeful for the future, that we can share something like this, and hopefully this is something that isn't only shared with lost parents, but starts getting out there to providers and to other people who haven't lived this crisis. And so overall, it's very moving and very exciting, to be part of a movement like this. So
Thank you, Camila. And of course, all our stories are different, but I think the thing about what you mentioned as well is like not feeling heard, and that's big. And the CDC points that out as an issue. They have a Hear Her campaign. It's called For Maternal Mortality specifically, which is we're also at higher risk for that if you had a stillbirth. But they also mentioned fetal movement change. That's a very urgent warning sign. So we're happy that the CDC is now getting a little more involved with communicating this. This is a public health issue. So we are calling on all of those public health organizations and agencies to do the same and keep highlighting what we can do to save our babies, because 23,000 babies a day, that is unbelievable. I mean, it's more than all the other SIDS, everything that you know of. And yet we're not talking about it enough. And I think it's just people don't understand that we can be doing something. We don't need to just let them die.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for giving us the extra time to chat about the film. And we welcome everyone who's watching this to put in the comments what you felt as well, and share your baby's name, say their names. They are the ones that we're honoring with this movement, and they're the reason that we're here. Unfortunately, they're not, but we're going to keep speaking out for them. And we're going to make sure that babies will live because of them. So thank you guys for all the contributions and the support to the movement. United we push.
thank you guys so much. United we push.
Thank you guys. Bless
Thank
you.
you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.